I couldn't come to this town and not reach out and say, hey, we're here having a show.
Can you imagine that we're here in Las Vegas for a Super Bowl?
I cannot.
I mean,
can you?
No, because, so it's 57 years ago.
Yes.
Super Bowl I, I was a newspaper man, okay?
Yeah.
And we were in Los Angeles, the Coliseum. And it was the same Chiefs, but they were playing the Green Bay Packers. And Vince Lombardi hid the Packers out at UC Santa Barbara. He went up the coast, and he made it clear to every writer, they were not welcome. They were not welcome, okay? Meanwhile, Hank Stram went to Long Beach, Riverside. Hey, he had a party every day. We couldn't wait to go see the coach. He entertained us and bought us beers afterwards. But I still have, believe it or not, 2 tickets from Commissioner Pete Rozelle that I could not give away, Rich, to Super Bowl I. Think about that.
Wow.
The Belmont Hotel didn't want him. And now, what are they going for? $8,000, $9,000, $10,000?
Crazy.
I know, it's nuts.
It is nuts. And that we are here in Las Vegas, Nevada, too.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, it was verboten to even mention Las Vegas. I know, I got my wrist slapped all the time,
How did the wrist slap ever come from Rozelle himself? Did he
No,
ever
let me give you
reach
an anecdote about Rozelle, because you'll love this one.
Okay.
I knew that Pete understood gambling because I always ran into him at the Kentucky Derby and even at Aqueduct on a good Saturday. He might be out betting the ponies. So I knew, and wait a minute. So when Bob Wessler calls and says, Brent, do you know Jimmy the Greek? I said, yeah, of course. This was the second year of the NFL Today. He said, I want to put him on the NFL Today with you, Phyllis, and Irv. And I said, what does the commissioner think? He said, well, it's fine. We're going to have a meeting with him. So it was Wessler, the Greek, and Brent. We sat in the office. Couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been more pleasant. Welcoming Jimmy the Greek to the family and all of this. We get up to leave after about a 40-minute talk. And he says, listen, I'd like to ask you gentlemen one favor. When the commissioner's asking you for one favor, it's an order. He said, listen, I don't want you to use +3, -7, -10. Could you do that? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On the way back, we said, what are we going to do? That's the heart of what we've got. So we came up with the old checkboard. The older folks who were watching the show remember the Greek checking it. If all the sides were checked on one side, you knew the Greek thinks they can cover.
Right. I remember seeing, wait a minute. So Jimmy the Greek thinks the Cowboys are going to win. Then why is the check mark next to the Giants?
Exactly.
Hold on a second. What is up with that?
Yeah, take those 6.5. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we could never mention. Oh goodness.
Oh,
those were the early days, and now.
Word.
And listen, I think the NFL did the right thing. Once it was legal, you better become involved in it because you don't want it to get away from you. Okay. For example. Offshore, we could always bet how many penalties will there be in this Super Bowl. There was always an over-under number. You can't do that anymore on the legalized side. That's because the NFL asked them not to. We don't want to bring undue criticism. There's enough of it already anyway on the officials. So we went from there. So I think the NFL. And did you see the slot machines? I'm laughing.
It's crazy.
They're all over town.
I know. I just can't believe it. By the way, I look at this photograph here. There's the Greek.
Yeah, and
Jack Whitaker, Jane Kennedy, and obviously Irv Cross, and you. My goodness! And how many Super Bowls did you do for CBS? Do you remember how many? What was the first?
8.
Yeah. Wow.
And then because I did one.
This is their 21st.
I did the one 22nd? For ABC.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Whichever, the first NFL Today anchoring of a Super Bowl I remember was in Miami. And it was the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can still see Lynn Swann on that far sideline from the booth. Actually, a couple funny things. I got to tell you about this.
Please.
We're at the field, and they got the flyover. Here comes the flyover, and we got a stage manager, up in the booth. Of course, I wasn't calling the game, but I was up there, getting ready to watch it and do some stuff. And the Jets are coming early. the anthem's going longer than everybody expected, and the Jets are rolling, man. They're honing. And the stage manager said, "No, stop." No. I said, my man, I don't think they can quite hear you up there. Shoom, they roll over. Oh, you guys should have seen him. He was unbelievable up there. But Lynn Swann had a great Super Bowl. Steelers win it.
Oh, yeah.
Part of the pregame show that day was on a boat. Joe Namath was our guest, and he almost missed the boat, and we couldn't wait for him because we were on schedule. We were on the air, so we got to go.
Yeah.
Here comes Joe galloping down and getting on. And
If you enjoyed that, and I'm sure you did, then make sure to tune into the Rich Eisen Show Big Game Bonus Special, streaming exclusively all weekend long on the Roku channel.